We've seen of late in the news that sometimes when it comes to PR mishaps, sometimes it's best to stop talking. I mean, we kind of saw this with the whole United thing, where every time the CEO flapped his gums, he just made the thing all the more glorious to watch, really. And we've kind of seen the same thing recently, or a similar thing, should I say, with G2A, just showing that sometimes just shushy time, and G2A, it's time to stop. Now, obviously, the PR mess for G2A has been pretty substantial, with, of course, the rather public breaking up of the relationship between themselves and Gearbox over the Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, after, of course, Gearbox learned, thanks to Total Biscuit, about the nature of their grey market, the issues of credit card chargebacks, and all the other issues of that sort that I've gone through at length at this point. But basically, there was a session in a conference by the name of Reboot in Croatia, and a representative of G2A defended various policies and also faced various questions from a crowd of developers who obviously are very intimately knowledgeable about the games industry. Now, for example, one of the things is that G2A refused to acknowledge themselves as a grey market site, but to be honest, they are, whether or not they like it, they are, by the definition, as was pointed out by Rami Ismail. And they posted the definition of grey market, and you can see the tweet for yourself in the link below, in the description below, rather, should I say. And they also seem to fail to recognise that the recent PR storm is not because of big old bad TB pointing the finger at them, it's because, well, they're kind of shady. According to, again, Rami Ismail, they were surprised that, quote, Gearbox publicly ended our relationship because of a YouTuber. That's not really the case. They publicly ended the relationship because TB went, here's a big pile of evidence, go nuts, and Gearbox decided, you know what, we don't want to hitch our horse to this particular carriage, and obviously they did give G2A more than ample chance to fix up and continue the relationship, and obviously G2A declined and basically outed themselves as shady. Now, I have to say, one of the most hilarious comments that was made by G2A was again posted by Rami, and I've got to be honest with you, I laughed for a good couple of minutes on this. And Rami writes, quote, G2A just suggested we need to stop being so harsh on them selling illegitimately acquired keys because 40% of their 750 employees are women. Yes, exactly. Oh, that gave me a good chuckle. Now, there's also going to be a couple of links in the description. You can also see the comments made from Mike Bithell, who you probably know if you're familiar at all with the indie scene, as well as a link to a Twitch VOD as well. And basically it just shows that this group of developers was very much not on the side of G2A here, and didn't respond well at all to the various hard-hitting questions from the developers in the room. And obviously it is indie developers are going to be most affected by the credit card chargeback and fraud problems on G2A. Of course AAAs are, but they're not going to be sinking as a company because of it, whereas indie companies have already been sunk due to credit card chargebacks via G2A, and obviously, this isn't even mentioning the stuff with G2A Shield and all the other shadiness that I've already mentioned in the past. And, well, G2A have responded to this whole kerfuffle, but again, I think they are, again, just making a bigger mess. Sometimes you just need to put down the broom and stop sweeping, because you are just making a bigger pile for yourself, especially if you keep flapping your gums. Basically, the TLDR of this video is G2A, it's time to stop. And basically, there were some comments which I will highlight. I won't go through the whole thing because there's quite a lot that the head of PR of G2A, Majid Hook, whose name I probably just butchered, so please do forgive me for that. Basically, he disputed the fact that they're a grey market because it's a negative label. And I'm like, okay. But here's what he had to say. Quote, grey market, despite the wiki definition, works as a negative label. People throw this name against us, just want to damage our business. We cannot agree to that. Resale of keys is perfectly legal. It brings us a lot of benefits to the gamers community as it introduces competition and prevents raising prices to unreasonable levels. Okay, you're still a grey market site though. The fact that it works as a negative label doesn't change the meaning of the word, I'm afraid, son. And, well, he's not wrong that reselling keys is not illegal, but, you know, selling fraudulent keys is, selling stolen keys is, selling keys purchased with stolen credit cards is. I mean, unless the laws change in the last 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure those things are illegal. And obviously, you know, they're not directly selling these keys. A lot of the time it obviously is third-party people using their website, yada yada yada, but G2A have done very little to prevent the sale of these allegedly fraudulent keys and so on and so forth. And you know, the more they talk, the more they try to cover their tracks rather than actually fixing the problems, again, the worse it gets. Now, he also had a little bit to say regarding the cuts that developers get. Basically, from regular sales, G2A apparently only takes a general commission of 10.8%, and that leaves the 89.2% of the sale goes to the developer directly. But the issue here is with G2A Direct, which is a second revenue stream where they can make up to 10%, so 90% of G2A Direct, which is a thing that they have launched so developers can actually actively work against these stolen keys. They only get 10% of that. How generous. Yes. You know what? I think I'm just going to stop because I think I'm going to laugh if I continue. I will link those videos in the description below this video, but to be honest, G2A, you are not making this any easier for yourselves. I think you just need to stop talking. Thanks for watching.